that big jump to L.A.? You care to tell and explain like how vital and how much of a big deal that was at the time? Because us being true followers of the NBA, we saw this as a monster move. Like you putting two superpowers, which was the Los Angeles Lakers and Shaq, in the same building. That was going to move a needle for real. So, what was the challenges behind making that deal happen?
That is a loaded but very, very, very good question. You have a minute for me to explain?
We got all day. Go get it.
All right. So Shaq, when he was with the Orlando Magic, wanted to stay in Orlando. And he said to me, make a deal with the Orlando Magic. I want to stay here. He already had, 3 years that he played there, but he had the opportunity. I know he played for 4. And so his contract was up and he was a free agent so that he could sign a bigger deal with under the NBA collective bargaining agreement with his team that existed, as opposed to it going out in the free agency market. It was designed to help the home team have a home court advantage in signing their players. But the Orlando Magic, instead of offering him a max deal, which is typical for any great player, right? I mean, you guys know that.
Yes, sir.
They offered him something less than the max, saying they wanted to save some money for Penny Hardaway, who was obviously a great player, but they were talking about saving money from the Shaq agreement without even really talking to us about it. So Shaq was a little bit offended by that and thought, that's not very respectful. And then Alonzo Mourning signed a $100 million deal.
Deal with Miami.
Yeah. And then Shaq's like, well, look, Mourning's getting $105 million. I'm not taking less than him. And then they ran a poll in the Orlando Sentinel and said, is Shaq worth $100 million? And 70% of the people said no. Of course, nobody had ever gotten $100 million. So they're all going to say, oh, nobody's worth $100 million, right? So Shaq's like, oh, well, go out and see if you can get me another deal. So what ended up happening was Jerry West, the legendary, rest his soul, Jerry West, who was a wonderful man, probably the greatest, probably one of the greatest general managers ever, if not the greatest in the history of the NBA. Put together Showtime for the Lakers, and all of a sudden he comes to me and says, we want Shaquille O'Neal. We're willing to, trade a bunch of players to make salary cap room for him. So they did a deal to trade George Lynch, and he said, I can give you a $96 million deal. And I said, gosh, you know what? I don't, $96 million, I don't know. Here's the problem. I said, Alonzo Mourning just got 105 and Shaq's better than he is, so why would he take less than 105 million? So what Jerry West did was he said, okay, give me a day. Comes back to me and he says the next day, Leonard, I did something, and if you don't take this deal, I might jump off the building because I don't have anybody left on my team worth playing. And I said, okay, what happened? He goes, I traded my center, Vlade Divac, and I moved this cap room. I got $120-something million for you, and I can give you that. And I also traded for, I think it was the 13th pick in the draft from the Charlotte Hornets, so that I could just have somebody to come in. I could have somebody to come in and, supplement the squad. And so, and that 13th pick turned out to be Kobe Bryant. You guys know that, right?
Yes.
So what ended up happening was I went back to Shaq and said, he did everything we asked. We should be honorable and take this deal if you want to be with the Lakers. And the Lakers had a legendary history of winning. So Shaq said, yep, let's go. We did the deal with the Lakers. Kobe came to the Lakers, and that was the beginning of perhaps the best duo in basketball history.